Like most people, I have one of these really useful IKEA shelving units, but I'm getting really bored of the colour. Mine's just like a black one. It looks kind of brown in the video actually, but it is a black one. So I thought it'd be fun to paint it to match my aesthetic a little bit more, and by that I mean I'm going to make it look very clown-like. But obviously before I could do any of the painting, I needed to empty the shelving unit because I have a lot of stuff that I keep in it all the time. And I also cleaned the whole thing. It was very, very dusty. It definitely needed a clean. I don't know why I haven't cleaned it before this. I should dust this more often. So a couple hours ago I went out and got the first bit of supplies that I need for this project. This is primer. I'm hoping it's white. I'm pretty sure I asked for the white one. And then I also got a sanding block because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to sand down all of these. Not very much, just a little bit, just to get a little bit of tooth. I got some paintbrushes as well, and then these are just some sticks to mix the paint. Well, it's not paint, primer. Something I definitely should have had that I didn't have was a dust mask. I did put a normal mask on, but it would have been better if I had a dust mask, because sanding all of this down was definitely sending a lot of dust into the air. Well, you can see it in the video, it's very, very dusty. I did have my back door open the whole time, so that also helped a bit, especially with the paint fumes, because they were quite strong for this primer. But yeah, I definitely could have had better equipment to do this with, but I was kind of just working with what I had and the little things that I had bought specifically for this project. But anyway, with the primer, I ended up doing 2 coats of the primer. Yes, it was 2 coats. I could have probably done 3 because the black was still showing through a little bit, but it didn't really make much of a difference once I put the actual paint over the top, so I just did 2. This was also drying really quick because it was so hot that day. On the tin itself it said that it takes upwards of 6 hours to dry, but I could definitely touch it within about an hour and a half. Obviously the underneath isn't dry, and I did leave it to dry a whole day in between priming and painting the final top coat, but I just found that really interesting. I was worried about the heat making the paint go a little bit weird, because you know when paint dries a little bit too fast, it doesn't really like it very much, but no, it was fine and it all worked out very well. At one point during the priming process, I did go through and sand down everything, and I didn't film any of the sanding. It was just getting very tiresome and kind of annoying to do, and I kept having to take my mask on and off because it was too hot to wear it while priming, but I needed it while doing the sanding. So I just did all the sanding all in one, and then I went back to painting, and it just went a lot smoother after that. It took many hours to get this primer down. I kind of forgot how big this unit is. I don't know why I was thinking that it was much smaller than this. But you can see by the little day counter that it actually took 2 days to do all the priming, and then I left it overnight, and then I came back to do all the colour. The shelf is now fully white. I think it looks quite good actually. Obviously it's a little bit patchy. If I wanted to keep it white I'd have to do 3 coats I think. As for what I'm going to do with it, I did take a picture of it and just edit it really quickly on my phone. I'll put that image here somewhere. So the base is going to be orange, and that's the thing that I'm planning on starting with. This is the orange that I've got. This is a ½ litre. So I think even if I need to do 2 coats, this will be enough. I also got a roller and a paint tray because I got so bored of using the paintbrush. I feel like this is going to be so much quicker, and I'm really looking forward to using this. I can't tell you how glad I was that I actually got this roller in the end. I was debating it. I was thinking, oh, I'll just do it all with the brush, it'll be fine. But oh my god, it's so much quicker, and it's so much fun as well. I probably could have done all the orange in one go, but my back was hurting, so I couldn't do the bottom level. So what I did instead was I just did the upper levels and obviously the sides and the top, and I haven't done the corners yet. You can't really do that with the roller, you have to do that with a brush, and I believe I did that off camera the day after I did all the main cubby painting, and I only had to do 1 coat of the orange in the end. I still have a bit of the orange paint left over actually. It went a very long way. And then for the red and the yellow I ended up using acrylic paint, which obviously doesn't have the same finish right now, but you'll see later on I did go in with a varnish so that it all matches very well. I was quite worried about this paint. I wasn't quite sure how flat I could get it, but honestly it came out pretty good and I really like the end result. If you're wondering why I didn't use like actual furniture paint like I did for the orange, the main reason was that I couldn't really find the colours that I wanted, and then the other reason was that I'd have to buy these paints in ½ litres. That was the smaller size they did, so I'd end up with so much paint left over, and I don't know what else I'd use it for, to be honest. So I just went in with regular old acrylic paint, and I just got this from an art shop, and I had to do 2 coats of this just because it was quite patchy. I did think about using the roller, but it didn't work very well. I think acrylic paint is too thick to use a roller on. So yeah, I just did it all with a brush. It took quite a long time, but I'm glad I did it. Now it's time for all the fun little designs. I wanted the size of the shelf to look very clown inspired. So obviously working with the colours that I already had, I thought of very simple designs that fit those colours perfectly. So obviously red equals hearts, yellow equals stars, and then just to break it all up a little bit, I did dots in all the colours as well. I did think about doing more difficult designs like smiley faces, stuff that I would just paint on by hand, but I was worried about it looking quite messy and I wanted it to look professional, so I picked designs that were all quite uniform and I could also make easy stencils out of. Out of the stencils that I made, I didn't end up using all of them. I only ended up using both the heart sizes that I made and then the bigger stars, and then for the dots I ended up using the lid of a makeup spray that I have, a setting spray that I have, and it worked very well. I thought they looked really cute. I really liked the sides of this. I did the other side as well. I don't think I ever got a shot of it because I'd already pushed it back against the wall at that point. The other side is done as well. It's not quite identical because all of the different shapes are all in different places, but I think there's the same number of shapes on the other side as well because I wanted it to obviously match very well. And then for the cubbies themselves, for the yellow I did orange swirls. I thought the yellow was a little bit too bright, so I wanted to mute it with the base colour, which is obviously orange in this case. And then for the red, I thought it'd be fun to do some dots. I did think about using yellow dots, but then in the end I ended up going with orange dots instead. I'm not quite sure why I changed my mind. I think it was because the yellow was quite bold, like it's obviously a very bright colour, and I didn't want to have too much of it on the shelf, but I also wanted to break up the red because the boxes that go into the shelving unit are the same colour red, and I wanted to differentiate just a little bit between the red cubbies and the red boxes. And then finally I went in with a furniture varnish. This was quite satisfying to do actually. Watching the finishes all match together, I feel like it just looked much more professional now that that's all on it. I ended up doing 2 coats of this because that's what the instructions on the bottle said. I'm pretty sure I could have got away with just doing 1 coat, but better to be safe than sorry, and I don't want the paint chipping off or sticking to anything because acrylic paint can stick to things, and that's obviously why I wanted to use the varnish in the first place, as well as to match all the finishes obviously, as I already said. After that, all I had to do was put it back into place and then put all the things back in the shelving unit. This was quite fun. I was very excited to actually get it back into my room and have it as a piece of furniture rather than having it in the middle of my room where it had been for far too long at this point. Like, I can't remember the last time I could walk through my room comfortably because this massive furniture piece has just been in the middle of it. But yeah, this is it all done. I took some aesthetic shots of the whole thing. Probably should have done some when it was empty as well, but I really don't want to empty it again, so you're just going to see it with all my stuff in it, but you can still get the idea of how it looks and how it looks in the room as well. But I think that's it. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like. Comment what else you'd like me to do. Tell me your opinion on the shelf. I know it's not for everyone's taste, but I absolutely love it. And then subscribe, as I'm going to try and post a video every single week from now on, and I'd love to see you again. But until then, bye!